and full up. So agility is nice, side, back, forward, back, lovely. The whole thing feels a bit, okay, back to Atty, a little bit wayward, I'll be honest. It's not quite as dialed in as the H1. That's full right, and it's barely doing anything. Left, that's looking good. This feels, I'll be honest, like a very dumbed down H1. Jeez, is that full up? Wow. Right, so here we have the main page. Okay, let's go here. This I've already explained in my other video. These are your settings here. So you can have a GPS, you can have ATI, you can have 3D, you can have return to home. I've switched off my soft standard sport. It's completely non-functioning at the moment. And I've also turned off the automatic banking. I'll show you how I've done that. I've actually got my switch into GPS and ATI, which is the way I like it. I mean, I'm flying it manually, so I don't need this. So anyway, this is obviously where you set your pitch and you trim your servos. Now mine are from the standard 1500. I just set mine to 1450 because the lines weren't quite where I wanted them. But I've also just explained that. Okay, so setting the pitch on the scale is a bit of a bun fight, because when you're at 0 here, yeah, it's not actually 0 here. Okay, all you have in the software is max positive and max negative, but you don't have a 0 pitch. So that's a bit of an oversight. So whilst getting that to 0, okay, make sure that the two lines line up in the center here. So they must, these lines must line up with the center line. But you have to fiddle this to get it to 0. Okay, because as it stands on the table, it's not 0, it's a couple of degrees. And that's because the ace wants to hover at this position here. So it's already got that then built in. So there's no 0 pitch per se. When I flick to 3D mode, which I've just discovered, which is here, it still doesn't go to 0. It's still the same, and that's why apparently it won't drop when you switch from GPS to 3D. But anyway, besides that, so if you're trying to line this up on your software by trimming the servos until these line up, you're going to have a bad day, because you're not going to get your ranges. Okay, so what I suggest you do is you line it up visually. I just can't, so you line it up that it is parallel that way, okay? And of course from the front, I just can't seem to find it now, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. And you make sure that your swash plate is level. That's what the servo trims are for. It's not to try and find these lines here. Okay, just focusing. It's not to try and find those lines. So with that in mind, please use a pitch gauge. Don't be like me and use a phone, but this is all I have. So I've taken my my app, I put the phone on the table, I zeroed it so that's at 0, okay, so I know that that's flat, Heli standing on the table, it's flat. And the range you want, now I'm just pushing up here, yeah. You want about 13 to 14 degrees, somewhere there, in the positive. And you want about 9-ish in the negative. Okay. So you don't want 14 and 14 because you're not flying in 3D mode. I think the idea behind flying this in 3D is to do nice stall turns and stuff like that. But I'm going to test that for you. So anyway, so that's after a lot of fiddling, I just realized that this never goes to 0, even although this is at 0 here. It's always got a couple of degrees positive. Okay, so because it wants to hover there at 0. So to check that they're in line, if they're not in line, just move this until you get one of them in line at least. Okay, look, mine are in line, and then you can use the servo trims just to tweak the servos, whichever one needs, just to bring that one down or the other one up. But what's most important is that your swash plate remains level. It's difficult to show now on this. I don't want to take the hood off because it's quite a drama. So start with a nice level swash plate. Okay, if you are fitting your ACE module to an existing heli, you need to make sure that it is completely level when the heli is standing on the table. You'll see it's got this compass over here on the left hand side, and I had to tweak mine slightly, and this is highly important. If yours is a couple of degrees off, forward, back or left and right, you're not going to have a successful flying helicopter. This needs to be dead level. So that I did find out on my very first video that I tried making. The heli was sluggish and all over the place. It's because this the ACE unit itself wasn't actually level. So please make sure by tweaking underneath the sponge here, there or the other side until that is dead level. So this is the interesting part here that we're all looking for. Why is this at 50? My motor is set to 75 is where I want it. And I've got my pitch gain. Now what is pitch gain? That's the forward and back pitch angle of the helicopter. So when you go forward, that's how quickly it will go forward. Yes, if you have this slider all the way down here, come on, it'll be very lethargic. Okay, if you have it up here, it'll still get to the pitch that you want, but it'll just take a long time. And so I've set mine at 90 for a nice rapid response. Same with the roll gain. Okay, so that's banking left to right, and my tail gain is at 100 because I found wherever it was, it just wasn't happening. So that's where I've got mine set. Brake gain, this only works in GPS mode, so that you can set to a nice gentle 20, 25, somewhere there. Okay. And look, we are discussing a 2-bladed heli at the moment. So for 4-bladed heli, play around with, you're going to start off with at 65. I would leave it there. If you want it a bit more sporty, you can maybe go to 70. But just play around with these settings here until you get the agility. So if you combine these two, this would be equal to the old agility slider in the H1 software. So that's basically, but now they've just separated that so you can tune them individually. And that's all we really have here in software setup. There's nothing really major. I'm going to run you through now how I set up my radio and how that all works so that I can get these functions. Yeah. So the normal switch C is now only GPS and home. and in the old ATI mode it's still GPS, and I explain that when I do that. And on my switch D I have GPS ATI, but if I switch C down to the old ATI position, I now have GPS on switch D and 3D. Yeah? Okay, so let's get to that section. Okay, so as I've explained, let's get rid of that. Look at the bottom here, this is just my model name, but that's GPS 1500. On the switch, I've now removed the automated banking because, let's be honest, we want the maximum performance. So we don't use automated banking, we actually fly coordinated turns. And on the switch, as I always recommend, I've got GPS and ATI, because when you're flying and you quickly want to flick to GPS, you can just flick it up from here to there without missing a beat. Okay, fantastic. So we need to get rid of, well, I got rid of these fly modes. Okay. Now you cannot simply change settings on this channel. So let's assign this to one of the back buttons. It needs to be assigned, okay? Otherwise it just defaults to, I think, medium. Okay, so we're going to unlock first. Going to go into settings. We're going to go into functions, and then we're going to go into auxiliary channels. Okay, so we want to assign this channel here first. So on the software we can see that is channel 8, soft standard sport. So we're going to, oopsie daisy, we're going to, come on, we're going to scroll, oh come on, we're going to scroll here to channel 8, okay, and currently it would have been set on a switch, which would have been this switch. But I'm going to set it to a key, and those are these back buttons over here. So I've set it to the key. You press this and you can have key 1 or key 2. Okay, so I've just chosen key 2. Fantastic. So we go out of here, but now we have to reverse that channel. So we go reverse channel 8. I've reversed it here. So you just press this, okay, like that, normal or reverse, and now it'll be locked in sports mode. If you press the button, it'll go to soft mode. Okay, so you won't have a medium anymore. So if you press and hold the button at the back, it will go to soft mode. But we don't want that here. We don't want anything here, because this is the danger switch over here. So there's no reason for us to be fiddling over here, because I've already almost inadvertently switched this off whilst demonstrating these switches. So let's get rid of that completely. Fantastic. Now, this switch D, yeah, which is usually it's channel 9. What we do is we go here, press that, and at the moment yours will say nothing here, so we press that, we select switch D, okay, and now we have 5 flight modes. 1, 2, 3, 6 in fact, 5, 4 and 6. So we've got 6 flight modes now, so we can fiddle with that now, you see. Let me see what I did with channel 9, if anything. Let's go here. Did I reverse channel? Oops. Channel 9 is normal. Did I assign it? I did assign it. I went to auxiliary channels here. Then I've find channel 9. Okay, now it's channel 9 is usually on this key here, on the switch. Okay, so I pressed again here, I pressed key, and I pressed key 1. Look, you can also put it onto key 2, doesn't matter, because you're not going to be using those switches anyway. And that's all you need to do, and it will stay on turn off. I didn't reverse this channel or change anything else. So just by assigning it to the key, it will revert to turn off. Okay, you can check that in your software. If you need to reverse it, which I highly doubt, you can go here. Sorry, you can go here, channel 9, but mine is normal. Okay, so that's fine. So that's all we need to do there. Now we need to assign this whole geometry here. So we've got 6 flight modes. So you're going to be in this position. That's okay. And you're going to make sure that it says 1500 GPS. Fantastic. Then you're going to flick here. You're going to set this to ATI and 1000. Now this is still up, eh? And you're going to go back here. Then you're going to flick here, flight mode 4. Going to set this to GPS 1500. Flight mode 5, return to home. Flight mode 6, return to home. Okay, so you just flick through the channels so that when you're in the right positions, that these readings are all where you need them to be. So how does this work? You're flying, you're flying, you're flying. Okay, I want to fly in ATI mode. Whoops, ATI mode. I want to return to home. Return to home, because you've set position 6 as return to home. Alternatively, you're flying, you want to try 3D mode. So you're going to set this flight mode 4 to GPS initially, okay? And now when you flick down here, you're going to have 3D mode. 3D is 1300. Okay, so if you're wanting to play around with 3D mode, oopsie, you can set it up like this. So flight mode 4 is GPS and 3 will be 1300 3D. And if you're in 3D mode, you can either flick that to GPS or you can flick that to ATI. But the whole idea is that we're just flicking over here. We're not fiddling around, you know, taking our hands off here and farting about, because you're in 3D mode. Something goes wrong, just flick it like that and you're good to go. So there's all the flight modes. So no more automated bank turns. No reason to go here at all anymore, because this is basically on, off, and then we leave that until we've landed and we switch that off. So there's no excuse that you've switched that off by mistake, because you only this finger is the only thing that needs to be working. So just to recap, GPS, fantastic. ATI mode, fantastic. Okay, now I want to try 3D. So you first flick that to GPS and then you flick it to 3D, take off, ooh, I don't like it, back to GPS, or ooh, I don't like it, back to ATI, because we've set this to GPS ATI up here, so this will go to ATI. You can also, of course, so let's say you're here, you can also set this flight mode 4 to ATI. Okay, so at flight mode 4 you would just now go here, you'd go to make that 1000 and you rename it to ATI. So you'd have ATI here, 3D ATI, 3D ATI, 3D ATI. I've just left it as ATI 3D GPS. Okay, so that's the radio. So I'm in ATI mode. Up, I've moved it here because I don't like it here so much. I just like this. I'm going to try something for you guys. You know, in the old days, in the H1 we had to give a little bit of positive collective just to take off slowly. What I'm going to do now, once it's running, I'm going to give full up. Okay, and let's see what happens, just for kicks. 1, 2, 3, and run. So I'm just going to give full up and see if it takes off slowly, shoots off, or crashes, who knows. So here we go, and full up. Okay, so it is more rapid than normal in that sense. It feels a bit more like the H1. So let's try that again, but this time we'll just be like a normal person. So now we'll just lift off like normal. There we go. Look, you can get it softer, smoother. Now what I noticed in the last flight, I had to be quite high to give up pitch, but now I'm pretty low and it goes quickly. So that's a bit weird in the last video. I mean, in the first section where I was trying the GPS. Let's see how low I can get. So I'm this low now, full up, and it just climbs. So that's a bit of a mystery there, how that works. Into GPS mode, and look at that semi-sunset there. Of course the sun is on that side, but that's besides the point. Let's have a look how still this is. Yeah, I think you know, it's very... Oh, dude, is that dialed in or what? Dialed in or what? So that's a bit of a hit and miss there on the ascent, because I took off from the same place, but now I can be here, I can give full up, and she goes up, you know, like you'd expect. Doesn't have that break. So let's try that in GPS mode. So here's a GPS, fairly low, okay, and full up. Yeah, that's a bit strange. Okay, back to Atty. Back to Atty. I don't know why that is. It's because I've changed nothing. I just changed batteries, and that feels good. You know, that little uptake there. Anyway, so 2, 3, and run. So here we go. Got my GPS here just in case I don't like it. And here we go. Let's give it some stick there. Okay, definitely won't hold altitude, but that's definitely 3D mode. Definitely 3D mode. Into GPS. So yeah, definitely 3D mode. Look, I can't fly 3D mode. Let me give it a little bit of height. Agility is nice. Side, back, forward, back. Lovely. I would like that a bit faster, to be honest. It could be a little bit quicker, you know. But yeah, let's take it for a quick fly, because it's getting dark and it's difficult to see the silhouette. But it feels now that it's flying. Look, this is only my third flight with this module. Feels very oh, battery already. Let's land it quickly. Battery already on its way. It was short-lived, but yeah, maybe it wasn't charged. But there we go, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's land it here.